Chapter 1. Wrong Place, Wrong Time. Section 1. Please don't let him die. Please don't let him die. This was the frantic thought replaying on an endless loop in Tom's head as he watched the paramedics lift the stretcher to standing height and begin the trip to the hospital 2 miles away. Just a few short minutes ago, he had been heading down the back set of stairs at his high school. The tight spiral staircase that recessed into the wall was a well-used shortcut from the gym and locker room area above to the band and art classes below. School had been released about 45 minutes ago, but it was getting close to the end of the school year, and Tom needed to stay late to work on his history project. With that behind him, his walking speed to collect his things in his locker was right at that uncomfortable speed, the one that hovered between a walk and a run. It would have been easier to break into a run, but Tom was already 2 warnings into getting his next detention, so he flew down the back hall with burning calf muscles and took the stairs 3 at a time. Lost in his thoughts of what he was going to do when he got home, he didn't really pay attention to what the voices in the hall were saying until he pushed the door at the bottom of the stairwell open and stepped through. It was just as his hand left contact with the door that he started to register the intense scene in front of him. Pale with anger, Tony DeMarcus towered over the much smaller Rick Beauregard as he pinned the smaller boy against the lockers less than 20 feet away. I didn't ask you, I'm telling you. You will be selling my merchandise here on campus until you've paid me back what you owe me. Did you think the weed was free? Tom froze and held his breath. He knew immediately that getting caught overhearing this would mean whatever happened to Rick would happen to him. And in that instant, Tom prayed that Rick had all the street smarts of a trained hostage negotiator. But Tony, you never said I'd have to pay it back, Rick stammered. Oh, crap, thought Tom. Tony still had Rick pinned with one hand while the other hand moved like lightning from being poised to hit Rick to snatching a gun that was tucked into his pants behind his back. We ain't dating. Why would I be giving you gifts like that, Rick? Tony leveled the gun at his face. I gave you the weed so that you would owe me, and now you're going to start selling to your friends. And if... However, Tony never got to finish the sentence because it was at that point that the heavy door at the bottom of the stairs finally closed with a boom that echoed down the hall. What happened next was surreal. His brain seemed to slow the scene down. Upon hearing the door close, Tony spun to see what the noise was behind him. Tom sucked in a huge breath as the gun, still going in slow motion, swung toward him. At that moment, Rick realized he had a chance to escape and bolted like a startled jackrabbit. The sudden movement caused Tony's attention to snap back to focus on Rick, bringing the gun barrel up to point directly at Rick's exposed back. "Stop!" yelled Tony. Far too terrified to obey that command, Rick continued at top speed down the hall just as Tony closed one eye and started to pull the trigger. Tom was never sure afterward if Tony really was going to fire the gun or not, but it was at that point that something snapped in him. His hands came up, and as he yelled, "No!" he felt a surge of power leaving his body. The result was amazing. It was as if a small bomb had gone off with Tom in the epicenter. Tony was hurled backward like he had been launched from a catapult, hitting the lockers with enough force to cave in the door and bend the frame. Rick, who had been several feet further down the hall, was much luckier and was only shoved off his feet to slide down the hall on his stomach. As both boys came to a rest, they were covered with parts of the drop ceiling that was blown free by the blast.